Okay. My video from yesterday was not very satisfactory, so we're gonna do another installment of the review series. This time I have some questions from my fans. Dana's question was just why, which I object to because Dana knows it's her fault. So next I'm going to move on to the questions from Emily. How did you feel? This is like an interview. How did you feel about the ending of Volume 2? Well, I did not appreciate it. Like, it's such a depressing ending. You get your hopes up and you know, oh shit, this is not gonna work out, but then like it's still depressing that it doesn't. But I do want to say that the ending of Volume 2 is probably like the best written part of the series so far. Like, there are several scenes towards the end of Volume 2 that are just like heartbreaking. And yeah, I really want to congratulate the author on the quality of writing going on there. So yeah, but the ending itself, the moment on which it ends and just fades into presumably another like 3-year time skip is very, very unfortunate. Okay, about to start doing some serious like verbal meta here. Why do you think Ryan did the do with Shane? I think Ryan did that because he's a terrible person. I think the reason is because he wanted to like prove to himself that Shane was not any better of a person than him. Like, he has this whole complex about being famous, but he looks down on people who like see him differently because he is famous, and he wanted to prove to himself that Shane is one of those people, and also to sort of like invalidate Brendan's choice in choosing Shane over him by saying, you know, Shane is not a more morally upright person than I am, which is questionable. Shane is definitely, in this reality, a slightly less bad person than Ryan. But yeah, I think he wanted to, subconsciously, I mean, he was also just fucking high, I think he wanted to have a way of invalidating Brendan's decision. So that's why Ryan had sex with Shane. Are you angry at Brendan at all? See, this is such a hard question because for most of the book you are angry at Brendan because it's like, why are you cheating on this guy? And then it's like, why won't you just break up with him? I keep referring to it as a book. It's not really. But yeah, I think that everything Brendan does is much more understandable and much more easy to empathize with than Ryan, obviously. I mean, if you look at Brendan here, he's got this choice between, you know, eternal closet case rock star who broke his heart and this perfectly nice, respectable photographer guy with this accepting family who's like an actual future. So I think that's a case where it's understandable to kind of make the ultimate decision to compromise passion and like true love if you want to go there for like safety and stability. So I think that Brendan made a very understandable decision. Maybe, you know, in an ideal world you don't hook up with the Ryan Ross of the world in the first place, but you know, we all have to live with that choice. So I just think that it's an understandable compromise to make, more so than anything. anything Ryan ever does, really. Real talk, do you hate Ryan or do you love him but hate his choices? Think about this for a long time. I don't fully hate him because, you know, it's essentially thus far like a tragic narrative. You're watching him be kind of like torn down by all these biases and prejudices that he has in his mind that he seems like essentially incapable of ever overcoming. Oh, this is something else I wanted to say about Ryan, like why it makes it understandable for Brendan not to want to have some kind of long-term thing with him. Like, Ryan doesn't really recognize the injustice of homophobia. I really don't say that word out loud that often, which is weird. He doesn't really recognize it as inherently wrong. He's just like pissed off that it's happening to him. And he also has no idea how to cope with it because he just doesn't have the life experience that Brendan and Shane do. So, you know, you've got this whole scene where he's like, let's make out in front of our friends and in the back of this cab in front of random people, and like, you just can't do that. But that does also make Ryan more sympathetic to me because like he is in over his head, like very much so, and he has no coping techniques. So no, I don't think that I hate him because he does develop a lot over the course of Volume 2, much more than Volume 1, and he's, you know, able to admit to himself that he is in love and wants to have a future with Brendan and not with Kelty or some other random girl with no personality traits. Sorry, Kelty. Kelty. So, I would say that I do want him to be happy in a way. You know, it's a hard world out there. You gotta sympathize with the choices people make. Not fully, because they're all really terrible choices, but you have to understand what led him down the path of ruination, essentially. How do you think the series will end based on what you've read from just volumes 1 and 2? Well, spoiler alert, Katie told me that it had the happy ending, so now I don't have to suffer. But seriously, if I didn't know, I would think that it would be like Brendan dies and Ryan overdoses on painkillers and also dies, because that is where the narrative arc seems to be going, but I know better. Very good to know. Katie's question was maniacal laughter, so I'm just gonna ignore that. I get it though. Kirsty's question, sorry about the name, Kirsty. Why am I so amazing and beautiful? Well, it's not really relevant to the topic at hand, but Kirsty, I think that you are amazing and beautiful because of your patriotic spirit and snapbacks. Among many other things, but we just don't have time to get into that right now. Emily again. How did you feel about the sex in Volume 2, Part 1, Chapter 6, and how does it make you feel that I know the exact chapter by heart? Well, not surprised. Let's consult our text. Let's find, what was it? Volume 2, Part 1, Chapter 6. Oh, there it is. this is the chapter where he's like, I really want to buy him roses. It's the worst. Yeah, you know, like, congratulations on this sex scene. They're all very well written. I mean, I'm not really as into the pornography about two guys having sex as many of you probably are. But, you know, commendable. The best sex scene in this volume, definitely from like a characterization standpoint. Volume 2, Part 2, Chapter 4. I'm sure Emily will immediately know what that one is, but the rest of you can just look it up. In conclusion, I'd just like to say that it was pretty quality, and I appreciated the story arc and the emotional resonance of it. Parts of it were very, very, very sad. Like, too sad. But I enjoyed it, and can't wait to read Volume 3 and find out what the deal is with Dallin. And I can't wait for the happy ending, which I know exists, unless Katie lied to me. And then we're gonna have a serious discussion.